Hello and welcome to another day of the Global Littlewargame League 2024. Just to remind you, here is the map pool. It is a ranked map pool with the addition of Thieves' Isle, and today I'm going to be bringing you the final match left in the quarterfinals of the Alpha League. It's going to be Highdra versus MrWinter, and hopefully it's going to be a really exciting matchup. Highdra is someone who is a very skilled RTS gamer. He's played in very high-level tournaments in multiple games, including this game, Littlewargame, and StarCraft 2. Additionally, he's been tearing it up in the Stormgate scene as well, so a very scary opponent with impeccable macro skills, but perhaps his metagame knowledge, perhaps his understanding of Littlewargame mechanics, or, I don't know, meta builds, might be a little bit lacking. On the other side, we have MrWinter, a very strong player as well. He's been around for quite a while, hasn't played as much recently, because he was away for quite a while. I want to say like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. But he's back and playing in this tournament. We'll see how this goes. Highdra mostly a Rax mech sort of player. MrWinter is more of a beast player. And let's take a look at the game. We have what's it called? There's no understanding of the map picks and bans, unfortunately, just because no one seemed to give me any of them, but that's okay. We'll just have to move on from there. And spawning in the top left-hand side of the map, in the red, it's MrWinter. And we're playing on Ravaged, which is a very standard map. And spawning in the bottom right-hand side, it's Highdra. Alright, I'm curious to see how this will go. We are on the most standard map. This is going to be just, the creme de la creme. Everyone knows this map. It is Ravaged. We have MrWinter going to send a worker across the map, also sending another worker across the map. Looks like a 2-den is incoming. MrWinter has been playing the 2-den basically this entire tournament, and if Highdra was able to get that scouting information, get that understanding of what his opponent's playbook is looking like, then he should be able to react accordingly, prepare accordingly, but we'll see if that is going to be the case. One thing that is really interesting is that this kind of looks like a scout worker, because the two of them, these two workers were sent pretty early. That might be what's happening. Highdra going for a standard opening, looks like it's going to grab a Rax. Yep, there we go. So it's going to be a Raider expand out of Highdra. This worker is going to come in and try to do a little bit of harassment. We'll see how much harassment it's going to do. It's going to try to be a little bit tricky. Does Highdra fall for that? Yeah, he kind of does. He's going to send his worker to chase this worker of MrWinter. This is potentially dangerous because as MrWinter, if you do draw your worker towards the wolf's den, then it would be harder to hard to disguise, because it's like up to interpretation. You can literally see it. MrWinter gonna take a bit of a turn here. Highdra also not quite on top of his worker micro. Yeah, he's just gonna go all the way back, and we have that first wolf on the way. This worker is gonna come in, and that's gonna be scouted as well. This is very interesting. MrWinter actually just going to go for a proxy 1-den, it looks like. He does have a second worker coming in. I think he's going to try to attempt to do some sort of tower rush, perhaps. We have that first raider on the way for Highdra. I feel like this might be a little bit of a easy hold. We do have a watchtower on the way, so yeah, okay, he's gonna be aware of this, and he's gonna try his best to absolutely defend this. He's gonna pull 3 workers here. We're gonna see if Highdra is gonna have the know-how to defend this. We have a tower coming up for both players. MrWinter does have the option to just throw down a house just to reduce the surface area. Highdra is gonna have to pull that worker back. A good target fire out of MrWinter targeting down that worker, but it looks like this watchtower is gonna be able to be completed. We have the raider spawning in, as well as 5 workers here fighting in the bottom. Good flash forward, does get an extra hit, and I think this is just an easy hold. Yeah, I think this is more or less an easy hold. MrWinter doesn't get the block off either, which means that this tower is never gonna go up. And I think as Hydra, you're totally fine here. You can even cancel the tower if I like. Okay, he's gonna let it finish, but I think this was an exceptional hold. Very, very easy hold. But it is not 100% over. That is a very big mistake. Does getting it surrounded, but did have enough mana or energy or whatever you want to call it to flash out. So is going to be able to flash out with its life and keep that Raider alive. So far, no units have gone down for Hydra, whereas MrWinter did lose a worker and a wolf. MrWinter is going to go for a natural base at the same time. Did get a house first. I think that is a mistake. I guess the idea is if you don't go for this house first, you're not going to be able to continue building workers. I mean, continue building wolves, and therefore you won't have as much to defend against the potential additional raiders. However, Hydra did just go for a single raider into a archer, so he's going to be looking to not be as aggressive as he could have been. And yeah, he's just going to take a base over here. We have these 3 wolves going to try to chase down this raider. As Hydra, you do want to try to target down that weakened wolf if possible. Does not quite target correctly, but not a huge issue. It's gonna double flash away. That's a little bit of a waste on that second flash, in my opinion, but that's still okay. Hydra also not building an additional archer out of this Rax, so I'm really curious to see if he's gonna do something else. And yeah, okay, that money is gonna be spent onto this workshop. This worker is also not mining, which is a mistake. You should send that back to mining. But yeah, so the castle is complete for MrWinter. Is going to transfer over some workers as I say that as well, which is very nice. We have an animal testing lab for MrWinter. So this is some very greedy play. So this sort of thing, very, very greedy. You're going to be behind on army for sure. So, you know, something like additional raiders just streaming across the map would be able to counter this very, very easily. And you wouldn't get enough value out of the animal testing lab and the upgrade for it to be worth it. But of course, I think MrWinter knows that just from the judging from the number of raiders that he saw, that there aren't any additional raiders on the way. But yeah, it looks like Hydra's game plan is going to be cata drops, and he did a very good job of that in his group stages in his group, so we'll see if he's able to do the same. This raider did go around through that lower side over there towards the third, and is going to be able to get a free, more or less, scout off. Is going to try to do a little bit of harassment, does target down a worker. You might be able to get it if you flash again, but that is a little bit risky. Is going to go for it. MrWinter trying to avoid. I think if instead of pulling that worker downwards, if he had pulled it towards the top, then he would have been able to get us around with the workers, and that raider might have been able to go down. MrWinter throwing that +1 upgrade. But yeah, it's going to come down to, can MrWinter understand that this sort of cata drop is coming on the way? So far, no, he doesn't have the information that he wants. He is going to be forced to send his wolves all the way back. Also, he's floating quite a bit of cash. Looks like he wants to go for maybe a third base at the same time. What is he doing with these wolves? The one wolf does not beat a raider if it's micro correctly, but looks like Hydra is a moment of inattention, is going to take a bit more damage than you really need to. This wolf is going to go down. MrWinter sending another wolf to go back home. And yeah, I think not ideal for sure, but Hydra does see this animal testing lab. That is a big issue. That does mean Hydra knows that there isn't... Ooh, good flash in to try to get that worker. That was definitely risky, but it did pay off, it looks like. Hydra also trying to target down another worker, but it doesn't look like that is going to be able to do the job. We have additional wolves, and we have 3 of them, in fact, coming down for MrWinter here. That's, I don't know. He hasn't had the scouting information to really see what's up, right? So I guess he's throwing it down kind of blind just to counter any sort of aggression, but it looks like that is... gonna kind of fall flat on its face because there's not really much you can do with a whole bunch of wolves. It's gonna have to rely on these snakes to do some anti-air. Did that see it? I think MrWinter may have just caught a glimpse of that airship with the proxy wolves then. Yeah, and he's bringing all his wolves back, so he does know that a drop is coming. Does he know that it's a cata drop? Who knows? Probably not. Perhaps he can guess. At the same time, Hydra looking to take a third base at the same time, and we're going to see how good Hydra's Q-Fire Catapult Micro is. Good pull away initially by MrWinter so far. And then we'll see how... Oh, he only sent 1. So he... Okay, so sacrificing that it's not even a 2-shot potential, but sacrificing a lot of damage for an earlier Cata drop does get a pretty big hit over there. So that is definitely a little bit unfortunate for MrWinter. Is going to take some more damage as well. So far, this defense out of MrWinter has not been very clean. Good Q fire so far as well from Highdra. He's also taking a third base, and MrWinter is definitely behind. He did get the upgrade, so his units are upgraded. They do have that +1 attack, but we'll see if that comes into play. Right now, so far, it's not looking like it's going to be a very good use of it. You're not going to be able to use it in any shape or form. I guess it does boost your snake anti-air. That is going to be a little bit helpful to deal with these airship, but he really needs some better anti-air, namely the ballista, but choosing not to get it so far. Also, Highdra being up a base is absolutely huge, especially in this matchup, just because generally you would expect the beast player to be up a base, or even more in the later stages of this game. Like right now, it would make more sense if Highdra was the one on 2 bases and MrWinter would be the one on 3. All right, we'll see how good the micro is. So far, Hydra's been doing a little bit of damage. It has gotten a couple of worker kills. So far, 4 in total. One of those was from the early game. But I feel like he doesn't really need to do too much, because MrWinter is already kind of his worst enemy right now. Being supply blocked right here, being a little bit too busy to defend, hasn't even gotten a third base yet either. So MrWinter not playing the best game yet so far, is going to try to delay this third base's Highdra with his continual drops. And yeah, just he doesn't have the correct anti-air. He doesn't have a good enough, and his positioning with his units isn't the best either. Yes, he's aware, or he's trying to defend some sort of attack on the far side here, but that's not going to be an issue unless Highdra sends another drop in, which he hasn't just yet, right? So these units could have been denying this third base from coming up or something like that. We have some good attack over here as well. So far, this drop doing an excellent amount of damage. Is taking a little bit too much damage right now, though. He's going to be forced to run away. He has that worker for the auto repair, so that's going to be critical. So he'll be able to come right back in about 30 seconds, in about a minute after the worker does repair. Looks like MrWinter is saying, okay, I've kind of dealt with the Cata drop more or less. It's my time to go across the map. We'll see if this is going to prove to be a little bit fruitful. That's a little bit of an interesting worker placement. Unfortunate from Highdra here. But this is a sizable Rax army at the same time backing this up. So this is looking like it's going to be a difficult hold for MrWinter. And it really does come down to his opening. His opening didn't do too much. And also he didn't defend the Cata drop very well either. And he also went for these upgrades, which are good. They're giving these wolves and snakes +2 attack, which is very nice. But I don't know if these units are going to be enough. Yeah, especially with the catapult fire, going to be able to target down a whole bunch of these snakes. Yeah, these snakes are going to get 2-shot. And so far, it is a pretty good hold, surprisingly. A little bit of a missed micro here from Highdra, picking up that catapult a little bit late. He's going to try to save that last one, not going to be able to get it. Almost loses the other catapult for that as well. So MrWinter is going to hold. I really think that could have been a little bit better. Maybe if Highdra did something like, okay, pretend to drop into the main to draw the army out of position, and then attack with the archers so that he has a bit of a better engagement, or a start to the engagement. He knows where the opponent is. He knows where the wolves are. That sort of thing would have been nice. We have 3 additional wolves stands on the way for MrWinter. So he's looking to basically push with this plus attack advantage and just go across the map and win. But I do think Highdra does have enough infrastructure, has 4 racks as well as a workshop and an advanced workshop, so that I don't think he will be in any sort of serious trouble here. Good pickup on that one weakened archer, I believe that was. I think it was this one over here. Nice micro out of Highdra, displaying his RTS control here. MrWinter also looks like is oversaturated with his with his main base over here. Should actually yeah, there we go. There's that worker transfer. Very nice. But Highdra is definitely ahead in this game. Significantly, in fact, yeah. Yes, his Catadrops didn't do as much damage as he would have liked. He only got, looks like 4 kills in total because one of them was from the early game. But he's still in an excellent position, forced MrWinter to play very defensively, taking this third base extremely late. And we're going to see if Highdra is going to be able to do a little bit of a killing blow, it looks like. He's going to rally his army across the map. And I really would like to see these catapults be used for a bit more harassment before that main fight happens. So the idea is obviously you, like I said previously, you send your drop across the map, force your opponent to defend, and then when that happens, you strike in a different place. A little bit of multitasking for sure. MrWinter is going to see this drop coming in with his walls, so he's going to try to defend that. Highdra looks like is just going to destroy that wolf's den and then come back, which is very interesting. I feel like he does have an opportunity to go across the map and attack, especially because he knows where his army is with this Catadrop. Looks like Highdra is looking to take a 4th base at the same time. Ooh, that's a little bit of a mistake out of Highdra. That airship going a little bit too far. I feel like that was an opportunity for MrWinter to actually jump on this, but unfortunately not taking that. We have a 4th base on the way for MrWinter. And I think the longer this goes, actually, the upgrades are going to matter a bit more. Yes, he's starting +3 upgrades, which is insane compared to the 0/0 upgrades of Highdra so far, but this is a very nice Catadrop. Not finding any real damage yet, no worker kills. Good defense out of MrWinter. He's also bringing his army back. I would like to see MrWinter use a little bit more of his wolves in an active sense, right? So he did have that one wolf taking a look at this, dealing harassment to that worker, but maybe one over here to just check to see if there's any sort of army move out or something like that. I think that would be nice. Also, MrWinter going for a ton of snakes. I feel like he's over making snakes just a little bit. It's very risky because snakes do get 2-shot by those airship, or not the airships, but the ballista. Oh no, not the ballista, the catapults inside of them. So that is going to be something that MrWinter does need to be aware of, the fragility of his army. And especially given the, so this sort of thing, 2-shotting those snakes is really big. But especially given the amount of ballista that MrWinter has, namely 0, I feel like this Catadrop hasn't been doing as much as it could. Yes, it's keeping MrWinter on his side of the map. Yes, it's also keeping, doing the valuable scouting information of where his army is. But it needs to be doing a little bit more, I feel, and he's going to be trying to do that right now. We have that forge on completed now. We have a fireball on the way as well. Where's the mage's field? Am I blind? There it is. And also archer range almost complete. We have a Catadrop coming into the main base, and we also have an assault for MrWinter. Is coming in a little bit one-dimensionally. Doesn't want to be fighting all these soldiers. Does kind of want to get into the meat of this army, but is not going to be able to do so. At the same time, this Catadrop doing a little bit of damage, and this fight is not going very well for MrWinter. That +1 range for those archers has kicked in. At the same time, is defending this more or less, but not in the best situation. MrWinter forced to retreat on this side as well. And this is looking like a very scary push out of Highdra here. A huge portion of the soldiers have been taken care of, but everything else is still alive. And these snakes with no front line to buffer for them are just going to be absolutely meat. And GG is called. MrWinter going to give that up. I feel like maybe he had a bit of a chance to go for a big surround, but I think with the mages coming on the way, and even with the upgrade advantage that MrWinter had, he wasn't quite enough to deal with Highdra and his multitasking. And actually, unfortunately, these two players did not get the message that you're supposed to play a best of 3, and they thought it was a best of 1. So unfortunately, they just kind of ended it there. We did let them know later on, but MrWinter did decide to forfeit that match. So the final score will be 1-0 for Highdra, not 2-0, but a win is still a win. And let's take a look at the Alpha League now that everything is complete. That does mean Highdra defeating MrWinter is going to be going on to play Weird Rat in the semifinals. And on the other side of that bracket, it's going to be Matthew N versus Avocado Lord. And since we're at the last of the quarterfinals, we're going to take a look at the Beta League as well. So, in the Beta League, in the semifinals, it's going to be Slammer4 versus Stevenator, as well as in the other semifinals, Josh's09 versus Python. So yeah, I hope you had a lot of fun watching, and I hope you're all as excited as I am for the semifinals and the finals of the Global Littlewargame League. And we'll see you next time.